Hola y bienvenidos a todos a Señores Mayores Frikis. Bueno, estamos en otro lunes de jueguitos. La semana pasada Azaleya jugó a Pineapple on Pizza. La verdad es que lo habéis visto mucho. Muchas gracias por todas las visitas. Hoy vamos a jugar a un juego un poquito raruno, ¿vale? Se llama Not for Broadcast, ¿vale? Del desarrollador NotGames y tinyBuild. El juego trata de que tú llevas una emisora de televisión, ¿vale? Estás en un rollo distopía y eres el encargado de una emisora de televisión. Creo que es bastante interesante, creo que es graciosillo. Me parece un juego muy original que ha estado nominado a varios premios, entre ellos al BAFTA Games, al Samus, al Digital Dragons, como mejor juego indie. Entonces creo que merece la pena un poquito verlo. No he jugado absolutamente nada, no sé qué tal se me dará. Me gustan este tipo de juegos que se salen un poquito de lo normal. Este tipo de juegos que yo que sé, presentan una propuesta un poquito diferente. Así que nada, vamos a pasar a ver el tráiler del juego que han hecho los propios creadores y empezamos la partida.
Good evening, I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Our main story is tonight. But first, the votes are in and it's a decisive win for Advance.
What do you make of this historic election result?
So perhaps we should all be celebrating. Except for the rich.
I mean, a lawyer and a TV personality running the country. Seriously?
We've had worse.
What does the future look like to you?
A bleak space where we've all been figuratively sodomized into submission.
Let's have a go with this whole democracy thing.
Okay.
And here we valley well are.
Good stuff.
Brilliant!
So,
A mysterious symbol has appeared overnight. Could this be the daring first move of a silent resistance movement?
Yeah, a government, a bond, Peter Clement.
There are some pissants who just don't know how to be.
And an attempt was made to censor some of it.
What? Are you joking?
we're only getting started.
No disrupt. No resistance. Oh, Alex, you're going to get me in trouble with that.
Your channel is a f***ing disgrace.
I'm sorry, it's very hot. But before we all hand off our freedoms, should we ask them who we're handing them over?
Please, we can't show you. Cut to the ads.
Give us a hug.
If you fire a single shot, initial estimates put the death toll into the millions. Mr. Blundercatch, I understand you're upset, but we can...
Jesus!
Good job, everybody! Well, if that doesn't distract you from the world outside, I don't know what will.
That's all coming up on tonight's
National Nightly News.
Bien, pues ese era el tráiler. Vamos a empezar ya la partida. Estoy cargando. Y mientras carga esto, pues bueno, nada. Muchas gracias por todos los que os habéis suscrito al canal. Muchas gracias por todas las visitas que nos habéis visto. Si os gusta nuestro contenido, pues ya sabéis, darle a suscribiros, darle a me gusta y nada, pues muy agradecido por todo. Así que bien, ya cargado esto, vamos. Vale, lo primero que nos pide es introducir un nombre de perfil. Pues vamos a poner señor Pingüino. Señor Pingüino, vale. Pues supongo que será en reproducir. Así que nada. Vale, campaña, contenido adicional. Decir también que ha salido ya el primer DLC, bien, que es como de una película o una serie como de telerrealidad de miedo. No lo he visto todavía porque ya os digo, cargué el juego para ver que funcionaba y no he jugado todavía nada. Así que nombre de la partida, Señores Mayores Frikis, va a ser el nombre de la partida. Vale, vamos a darle a continuar. Gente, vale, becario, que es menos desafiante, que será modo fácil. Radiodifusor, que es recomendado. Vale, índice de audiencia, responsable. Un auténtico reto, no estamos para eso. Y como no sé cómo personalizarlo, vale, pues vamos a darle a recomendado.
That's all coming up on tonight's National Nightly News.
Entiendo. Día 1, elecciones. A ver. El juego está en inglés, eso sí. Pero bueno, tiene subtítulos y espero que se vean bien todos los subtítulos. Hay un teléfono sonando. Vale, chao. Ok,
Hi, David, I have a call for you. I'm just putting it through. All right, mate.
Adam.
Dave here. Listen, I know you've only come in to clean up the place, but I've got a bit caught up, so
Vale, vengo a limpiar y me toca dirigir el informativo. Veremos a ver cómo sale.
I'm going to stay on the phone and help you. First, I'm going to give you a quick tour of the broadcast room, so if you're not doing it already, look forwards towards all those screens. Right, look up at the top.
Vale, aquí están las pantallas. Este es el medidor de audiencia. Ok. Vale, esta es el broadcast, la emisión. Y estos son los previos.
Don't worry, I'll talk you through it and you'll pick it up in no time. Now, have a look to your left. These plugs control everything in the studio. I've left them set up for you, so provided you haven't fiddled with them, all you have to do now is throw the master trip switch and we're in business. Once you've got the power on, face the front again.
Vale.
You can see on the broadcast screen that we're in the end titles for the show before us. Fortunately, they've gone on for fucking ages, so there's plenty of time for me to explain. Oh, right, okay,
Oh, mierda.
so we haven't got long now till the broadcast. Right, quickly, mate, look down under the desk.
Debajo de la mesa.
See a
Vale.
load of videotapes on the left? They're your adverts. Pick any three and load them into the machines on the right. When you've done that, look up to the front again.
Vale, estos son los anuncios. Ensalada semanal por su... Vale, vale, ahí. Neil el pirado. Y Alan James, porque quiero saber... Teatros en medio de tu... Vale, Alan James, que parece un teatrillo. Vale, vale, y lo puedo hacer con el teclado o con el ratón. Ya he puesto la pantalla 1.
Good evening, I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Our main stories tonight.
Okay, we're all good. Next is going to be the throw to the news titles on screen 2. There'll be a countdown, but I'll count you in as well. Just relax, mate. It's all gravy.
Buys Honest Andy's Totally Independent and corners the fly.
Ah, vale, la cuenta atrás está aquí arriba en el reloj. Vale, estoy nervioso, joder. No sé, hay muchas cosas que hay, muchos botones.
Wins Sports Personality of the Year. And a spoonful of sugar.
Vale,
Megan
vale.
was chatting with movie star Lawrence Blunderclatch about his new movie, The Medicated. And, of course, we'll be going live to Advance headquarters to hear what the leaders of this fledgling party have to say on their historic...
Right, button 2 in 3, 2, 1. Lovely, mate.
Bueno, parece que lo he hecho bien. Me ha felicitado. Cuando el globo esté en el centro, se encoja y desaparezca. Vale. A ver. Y desaparezca. Vale, vale. Vale, bien hecho, bien hecho. Interferencia.
But critics have accused him of a severe lack of actual policies and of being deliberately vague. The opposition parties have all conceded defeat to Advance's overwhelming...
Que se me va, que se me va, que se me va.
However,
joder. No me da tiempo a todo. Vale. Qué mal la señal. Estaba leyendo. Cuando llegue a 0. Vale.
To hear the co-leader's acceptance speech.
And 3, 2, One advert.
1 minute back, everybody. Jeremy.
Vale. Creo que lo he puesto, sí. Ensalada semanal, vale.
I thought I'd ask him about the election.
Personally, I wouldn't try to confuse him with any big words.
That's the same policy we use with you. I thought that was our little secret. It's all right, he doesn't remember anything I tell him.
I'm deeply uncomfortable with your burgeoning friendship.
Me too.
Yeah.
¿Y ahora?
Wicked. We've made it to the first ad break. You're doing great, mate. But this is where it starts getting a bit trickier. This next sequence is what we call a multicam sequence, because you're going to be cutting between multiple cameras to keep things interesting. A lot of it's down to personal taste, but here's 3 good rules of thumb. 1. Try and keep the shot on whoever is doing the talking.
Vale.
2. Don't stay on the same shot
Quien
for too
hable,
long.
10
at
segundos.
the most. So if you're on the person who's talking, try and throw in the odd reaction shot.
No hay
Play out
reacción.
to the wide shot for a bit, just to keep it interesting. 3. Don't stay on reaction shots for too long. A couple of seconds is
Plano de
usually
reacción
enough.
menos de 3
The
segundos.
audience want to see who's doing the talking, yeah? Stick to these rules and you'll be fine. It's not as complicated as it sounds. You've seen programs on
Joder, que no es
television,
complicado.
haven't you? Make it look like those.
Vale.
Might as well get screen 1 selected now. No need to wait for the broadcast to start. Try and stay
Vale.
ahead, mate.
Pantalla 1.
Thank you so much.
10 seconds, everybody.
Vale, 10 segundos.
Counting in 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to the National Nightly News. Later, we'll be hearing from shock election winners.
Lo de oírlo 2 veces me está rayando un montón.
Ready to go to Megan on screen 4.
Is here with a star of both stage and screen. Megan?
Thank you, Jeremy. Megan Wolfe, culture correspondent. And today I have a guest who starred in everything from Shakespeare
Right,
to the
go to
Shop
Blunderclatch
Doctor.
on screen 3 when she says his
Joined
name.
today by none other than Lawrence Blunderclatch. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, my dear, I do hope you believe me when I tell you that being with you here today is among
Switch to 2 for the wide now.
May I say, having you
Ya lo
with us
tenía
as
puesto.
I was.
Right, now just try and stay on whoever's
Your
talking.
latest movie, which is called The Medicated.
The medicated, yes.
Wow, what was that like?
Well, as I said to Peter at the Rat, that's
Creo que estoy cambiando muy rápido.
Give us a look at Megan's reaction.
He's a wonderful
Lovely.
guy.
Now back to Thunder Twat.
I've worked with him on several movies, all terribly successful. I said to Peter, what a wild ride this has been. And do you know what, Megan? I really meant that.
Wow, that is fantastic. And am I right in saying that the character you played
Vale, vale, creo que lo estoy haciendo bien porque va bien la audiencia.
Absolutely right. A scientist.
was that a challenge at all?
What exactly are you implying?
Muy rápido, muy rápido.
Seriously, yes, you're right. It was a complete departure from my last starring role when I played Sergeant Brock Rockman in Bullet Man. You'll remember that that was the true story of one soldier's fight for a
Ay, no estoy teniendo en cuenta el tiempo, mierda.
A love, of course, for freedom. I think it's grossed over $1 billion, but honestly, who's counting?
It's a role that saw you scoop 2 Best Actor awards, if I remember correctly.
It's so sweet of you to mention it, but I really am not in it for the awards, although those 3 little statues do take pride of place on my mantelpiece.
With all the others, I'm sure. So, if you're not doing it for the awards, what is it then that drives you?
That is a beautiful question, Megan, and not easy to answer. Like you, I'm afraid. Cut me, and I will bleed. And often, that's how it feels, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Bleeding, doesn't it? Giving, suffering for one's audience.
Bueno, creo que va más o menos, la audiencia va
I
bien.
suppose in the end, I do it for the difference it makes. I do it for the people that I inspire. The little people. But most of all, I think I do it for the positive change that I can bring about in the world.
Bueno, parece que va, parece que va.
Today, of course,
Mierda,
for some
se ha puesto a hablar
real
antes de que le cambiara.
in the coming few months. What do you make of this historic election result?
Vale, creo que bien, creo que bien, creo que bien.
Well, now you're asking. Historic election result. Indeed. Historic is the word. Well, it's difficult, isn't it? Very difficult. But I think I've always been quite clear that when it comes to politics...
A ver, no sé, no tengo ni idea de lo que están hablando. Ya no me da tiempo.
To not fuck things up.
Shit, he swore. Oh, well, don't worry, he won't do it again.
I said fuck.
Shit, he did it again. Okay, don't panic. I'll explain how to deal with swearing at the break.
Which opens next week.
No sé qué ha dicho.
I've swapped the shot of Jeremy on screen 1 for a VT of the movie clip. You'll get a countdown on the screen, but I'll just let Megan cue you in.
My character, Dr. Lance Hemlock, is faced with a decision that could affect humanity's very survival.
Exciting stuff. Let's take a look.
Creo que más o menos.
Cool, looks like Blunderclash is losing it in the studio, but we ain't got time for that. There's more interference coming. It's a bit trickier this time, mate. Use that little flashing joystick to the left of the knob, or hold down your middle mouse or Alt on your keyboard, and as the frequency changes, match it to the white bit by dragging.
Ahora hay que estirar la onda.
I don't know that.
Now we're going to squash the frequency back by dragging left.
Nolans, we mustn't.
Wow.
Please, Carol.
That's Dr. Lance to you, Miss Flanagan.
Jubbly, mate.
Good for you, baby.
Next, we're going to change the amplitude. Same as last time. Little joystick or hold Alt or middle mouse, and this time push upwards.
¿Cómo que hacia arriba?
Upwards.
Ah, vale.
Madre
mía.
You need to see this.
Right, now let's match it back by going downwards.
Ahí va, ahí va, ahí va.
The sterility. This formula, this is the key.
We could step it all.
Yes.
Otra vez se mueve. Qué buena. Vale. Wow. No tengo cámaras. ¿Dónde han ido? Vale, otro anuncio. Vale, ok. Madre mía. Qué estrés. ¿Cuántas cosas? 5, 4, 3. Vale. Anuncio 2. Poco tarde, poco tarde. Vale. Televisión. Vale, sí.
When someone says a naughty word, the bleep button lights up, like this. 2 seconds later, you'll hear that swear word going out on the broadcast, and you need to hold down the bleep button or the space bar on your keyboard for as long as the swear word lasts.
Vale, botón de censura, espacio.
Just stay calm and you'll get it. And if you can't tell when to bleep, just above the button, you'll literally be able to see the sound scrolling by. All you gotta do is hold it down while the red bit is over the red line. Simple. Of course, if you do it by eye, you'll have to take your eye off the screens. That's why real professionals do it by ear.
Sí, claro, de oído. Hacerlo de oído, no pide nada.
Below the master screen. Let's set it now. As you turn it up, you'll hear the advert getting louder.
Vale, sí.
You're set to start censoring. Like I say, it takes a little practice.
Este es el previo.
I'll help you through it, and soon we'll have you bleeping like a pro. Remember, button lights up, count 1, 2, and hold it down.
Ok, vale. Qué loco.
Remember to select screen 1 now that you've got the
Vale, sí.
Don't wait for the broadcast to go live. That's too late. You can use the number buttons on your keyboard, 1 to 4.
Vale, madre mía.
3.
Vale, ahora se pone solo. Vale.
Welcome back. And I'm told we can now go live to Advance Headquarters, where the two leaders, Peter Clement and Julia Salisbury, are about to make their acceptance address.
Cut to the outside broadcast. Oh shit, he's pissed. Get ready to bleep.
Está borracho.
Thank you all for coming. And, well, thank you all where do I start? Well, what a day.
They said we couldn't do it.
They certainly did.
They used every dirty, low-down, lying, southern bastard trick they had against us. But you,
Vale.
you saw right through their shite.
I'm sorry about the language there.
Sorry about that. I've had a couple of celebrations.
Vale.
It makes me coarser than a granny's fanny.
Muchas cosas.
Memorably put.
Nailed it.
But to be honest, who can blame Peter for celebrating? Throughout the campaign, you've heard us say that Advance are not a political party. A party's what you have when things are going well. When the country is suffering, you don't need a party. You need a team. A team that can change things. But today is day one of a new future. a better, fairer future. So perhaps we should all be celebrating.
Except for the rich. For them, the party's over. They shouldn't be celebrating. They should be putting their shitting pants on and opening their dusty checkbooks.
Again, but not inaccurate.
La he cagado, he pasado al estudio.
Before we came out
He pasado al
here
estudio,
for destination,
mierda.
We used our executive powers to pass the Assets and Wealth Act. Working with the tax office, we have produced a definitive list of every person in the country with wealth into the millions.
You know the sort of probably you rather you don't. Because the likes of you and me are not welcome in their gated communities.
Tomorrow, we will be introducing a sweeping reform of the tax system in this country. No more hiding wealth offshore, no more trust funds or creative accounting. A simpler, fairer, unavoidable set of tax laws.
So, all you bastard public school snobs have got nowhere to
Vale, creo que bien.
And earlier today, we revoked your passports. You want them back? You want to leave like you threatened before the election? That's fine. But first, you're going to pay up. You're going to pay it back.
Advance are going to turn this country from a nation of warring individuals
Estoy pendiente de las palabrotas todo el rato, no me da tiempo para
to
más.
properly fund health and education.
Vale.
To raise the living standards of us all.
The pundits said we'd have to raise billions. But you'll see when we've reclaimed what's ours, that's absolute ferret shite.
Ya está diciendo
So, to you
mierdas.
posh twats.
The people who pay you a pittance to serve them drinks in their private clubs. The people whose children you raise.
So they've got time to get even fucking richer.
Advance have this to say to you.
It ends today.
We are coming for your sports cars and your mansions and your vineyards.
It ends today.
We will put the wealth of this country back where it should have always been, in the hands of the people who created it.
It ends today.
Yes, it ends today. And tomorrow, we'll start making it fair again, just like we promised we would.
And until then, ladies and gents, I suggest we all get pissed.
I can't argue with that. Thank you for your time.
Just bleep the rude word.
Y le estaba dando.
Interesting acceptance speech there from the leaders of Advance. And our apologies for the fruity language.
Ah, huele la leche.
Hopefully we got that bleeped out for you in time. If not, someone's going to be in trouble.
Yo
So,
voy a
as
tener
the
problemas.
country braces itself for new government, that's all from us this evening at the National Nightly News. We'll be back tomorrow.
7 y habrá que poner un anuncio o algo.
First day under Advance.
Sí.
I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Have a peaceful night.
Uno.
Right, looks like you've got it now. Thanks for all the help, mate. I've got to go. Ferry's about to leave. Probably won't be coming back.
Madre mía.
It's yours, mate. Good luck.
¿Cómo que no vuelve?
This is some weird
Claro, me quedo yo controlando toda la emisión, me cago en la leche.
So lucky. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Not coming for a drink?
Nope, got a date.
Lucky you. Try not to get murdered.
Vale, continuar. What Plus. La última parte. Primera muestra con... Hay que tener al jefe contento. Qué guapo el rollo teletexto. Pobre como una rata. Salario completo, bueno. Bueno, los dos últimos anunciantes están contentos. Pobre como una rata, salario completo. O sea que lo he hecho... Vale, esto me... Vale, Canal 1 lo que opina de mí. ¿Y cómo va el gobierno? Ok. Misiones.
Once it's finished loading, you can use the rewind and the fast forward at the bottom there to help you get to the bit you want to see.
In a few moments, we'll be going live to tonight's national...
Ah, vale, aquí puedo...
ideas and let's have a look at those.
Guiones.
This is the rushes room. It's pretty simple. The 4 screens you can see, they're going to show you the 4 signals you got from the studio during the actual broadcast. Difference is you can
Vale, aquí puedo ver las 4 pantallas. Y escuchar lo que no he escuchado.
When you're done listening to the backstage secrets, hit back.
Se pone solo esta.
Prawn and mayonnaise?
Ok. Y aquí puedo ver... Me recuerda a los anuncios de Better Call Saul. De Breaking Bad. Muy bueno. Vale. Vamos a continuar. Vale, vamos a continuar un ratito más. Este ha sido el día 1 y ahora nos desplazamos hasta el día 3. Una solicitud inesperada. Al llegar a casa te encuentras el correo sobre el felpudo. La mayoría es basura y propaganda. Sin embargo, una de las cartas llama tu atención. El equipo quiere conocerte. Pues solo puedo abrirla. Un formulario del gobierno de Advance, que es el nuestro, que pide información a todos los ciudadanos. La primera página ya está cumplimentada. Con mi nombre, el de mi pareja y el de mis hijos. Pues murmuro y abro. El resto de las preguntas están por completar. Parece que son obligatorias. Pregunta 1. En tu primer día de trabajo, ¿eres agradable y te presentas a tus nuevos compañeros? ¿Eres productivo y te pones a trabajar inmediatamente? ¿Te lo tomas con calma y tratas de ir acostumbrándote a tu nuevo espacio de trabajo? ¿O rememoras tus antiguos trabajos con amigos? Pues yo creo que agradable y te presentas, ¿no? En lo suyo. Si estás en un equipo de trabajo. Un compañero de otro departamento te ha confesado que se ha estado llevando a casa información confidencial. Hoy ha desaparecido un archivo de escasa importancia. ¿Qué haces? ¿Ayudas a tu compañero a cubrir su infracción? ¿Recomiendas a tu compañero que informe al jefe? ¿Prometes a tu compañero que no se lo dirás a nadie? ¿O informas de la infracción a tu superior inmediatamente? Pues es el primer día, le recomiendo que hable con el jefe. No sé de qué va la movida. Pregunta 3. Han despedido hoy a un departamento por desempeño insuficiente. Tu jefe te ha dado nuevas responsabilidades y objetivos mucho más elevados de las que tenías. ¿Qué haces? Salgo de mi trabajo a mi hora. Te quedas hasta tarde para asegurarte que cumples los plazos. Sales antes del trabajo y te vas a hablar de los cambios con los compañeros. Hostia, está muy buena. Sales antes del trabajo y te vuelves a casa para estar con tu familia. Vale, pues vamos a darle que salimos a nuestra hora. Pregunta 4. En la barbacoa anual de la empresa y te han invitado a ti y a tu familia. Estás deseando disfrutar de un día agradable con tus amigos y familia. Ese día te lavas el pelo. Bien, no sé, lo de ese día te lavas el pelo. Vas si no tienes nada mejor que hacer, pero no pasa nada si te lo pierdes. Has estado practicando con tus compañeros de trabajo y crees que ganarás el concurso de talentos de este año. Pues... disfrutar con amigos y familia, venga. Vale. Pregunta 5. Tras una larga carrera plagada de éxitos, estás a punto de jubilarte. En tu discurso, tú enumeras tus logros y los buenos recuerdos que tienes trabajando allí, haces un análisis sincero de los pros y los contras de la empresa, te centras en los problemas y desafíos a los que te has enfrentado trabajando allí, o te niegas a asistir. Pues si es conmemorativo, logros y buenos recuerdos. En tu tiempo libre, tú te gusta relajarte en soledad con actividades como escuchar música o haciendo manualidades. Asistes a manifestaciones políticas y luchas por tus valores. Animas y apoyas a tus hijos con sus aficiones. Juegas a tu deporte favorito en el equipo local. Pues vamos a decir... venga, apoyas a tus hijos. Vale, pregunta 7. Tus vacaciones ideales serían en un paraje natural donde puedes aliviar las tensiones provocadas por el trabajo rutinario, explorando un lugar desconocido y descubriendo nuevas experiencias y desafíos, un día estructurado en un parque temático lleno de atracciones y adrenalina para ti y tu familia, o una escapada romántica con tu pareja en una isla tropical paradisíaca. Pues vamos a decir, venga, escapada romántica. Vamos a hacerlo en plan ciudadano bueno. Lo que debe decirse. Lo más importante es que el gobierno garantice que sus ciudadanos estén seguros, sean libres, estén felices o disfruten de igualdad. el gobierno. Venga, estén felices. Gracias por tu cooperación. En advance sabemos que tu tiempo es valioso y agradecemos su ayuda para dirigir la nación hacia un futuro brillante. Firmamos y ya está. Pues ya está. Día 6. Cosas de casa. Otra de estas. Vale. Es tarde, ahí los niños ya se han ido a la cama. Estás secando tu taza de café favorita, un recuerdo desgastado de vuestro primer viaje juntos. La pintura ya apenas se ve, pero la cara tan bobalicona que tiene dibujada todavía te saca una sonrisa. Unos golpeteos en la ventana te devuelven a la realidad. Pobre como una rata, no dejan de recordármelo. Allí en el jardín, sujetando un llamativo maletín verde fosforito, está Chris. De todos los hermanos y hermanas de Sam, es quien mejor te cae. En cuanto pasa, se sienta en la mesa de la cocina temblando. Chris inspira profundamente. Perdona por venir tan tarde, Ale, balbucea. Pero necesito un favor. Y solo tú puedes ayudarme. No hay problema. ¿Qué pasa? ¿O va todo bien? ¿Quieres que llame a Sam? Si solo puedo ayudarte yo, ¿para qué le voy a decir que llame a la otra? Venga. Seguro que ya sabes que lo de la locura de Advance, ¿verdad? La ley de bienes y riquezas, como lo llaman ellos. Les están robando el dinero que la gente ha ganado con el sudor de su frente para dárselo a los vagos. Es una gilipollez. Nunca había visto a Chris así. No digo que el 1% de los más ricos no tengan dinero, continúa Chris. Pero ellos se lo pueden permitir. Pero la gente como yo lo vamos a perder todo. Es horrible, pero no tengo claro cómo puedo ayudarte. De toda la familia, tú siempre has sido el que más capacidad económica tiene. Lo siento mucho, pero lo de quitar a los ricos para ayudar a los pobres no me parece tan una mala idea. No tengo claro qué me estás pidiendo. Se lo van a llevar todo, Ale. Todo lo que me he pasado la vida construyendo. No puedo permitirlo. Necesito un favor. Los ojos de Chris permanecen fijos en el suelo. Necesito que me prestes tu pasaporte. Hostia, se quiere alargar. ¿Mi pasaporte? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué tengo la sensación de que esto no me va a gustar? Que te pidan el pasaporte... Ah, la taza, qué buena. Mi pasaporte... Esto no me va a gustar. Se han llevado el mío junto con el de la mitad del país, pero la gente siempre dice que tú y yo nos parecemos, así que Chris camina de un lado a otro. Tengo que salir de aquí antes de que sea demasiado tarde. Una vez que esté fuera, yo y mi dinero estaremos a salvo. O sea, si lo que quiere es salvar su dinero. Pero tengo que irme antes de que me congelen mis cuentas. Por favor, no te lo pediría si tuviese alternativa. Vale, está arriba. En la caja fuerte, voy a buscártelo. Debe haber otra forma. Seguro que no es para tanto. Yo creo que debe haber otra forma. La boca de Chris se abre de sorpresa. ¿Estás de coña? Siempre se ha ayudado a ti y a Sam. He tratado a vuestros hijos como si fueran los míos. ¿Eso no significa nada para ti? Está bien, voy a buscar el pasaporte. La familia es lo primero. O va en contra de la ley y no puedo ayudarte con esto. Si quiere pinar y no le dejan... Venga. Subes por las escaleras hasta tu dormitorio, con cuidado para no despertar a tu pareja. Sam se ha enrollado en el edredón, tal y como hace siempre que se mete en la cama antes que tú. Abres el armario, desbloqueas la caja fuerte y sacas el pasaporte. Una voz somnolienta rompe el silencio. Ale, ¿qué pasa? Nada, cariño, no te preocupes, vuelve a dormirte. Chris está abajo, quiere salir de ese país, necesita mi pasaporte para poder hacerlo. Pues nada, cariño, no te preocupes. Sam no te cree. Todo bien. ¿Qué haces abriendo la caja fuerte? Todo bien, no pasa nada, no te preocupes. Enseguida me meto en la cama contigo. Oh, Chris quiere que le presente mi pasaporte para salir del país. Parece que va a perder mucho dinero. Se lo digo. Sam se sienta rápidamente como un resorte. Cualquier rastro de sueño ha desaparecido. ¿Qué? ¿Cómo va a salir del país? ¿Tan mal están las cosas? Eso parece, pero si logran salir, estarán bien. Chris puede usar mi pasaporte y salir. Eso dice Chris, pero no lo sé. No tengo claro si de verdad quiero darle mi pasaporte. Es que no tengo claro si quiero darle mi pasaporte. A ver, venga. Al decir esto parece que has destrozado a Sam. Siempre ha valorado mucho a su familia. Ya sabes lo que haría yo, acaba por decir Sam. Pero no es mi pasaporte y no puedo pedirte que se lo des. Tienes razón, lo haré, la familia es lo primero, vuelvo en un minuto. No, no puedo hacerlo, lo siento, cariño. Creo que Chris exagera y yo podría meterme en serios problemas si lo hago. Tienes razón. Ya está, se lo doy y si me pillan pues digo que me lo han robado. Cierras la caja fuerte y bajas para reunirte de nuevo con Chris, que se mueve nerviosamente. En cuanto vuelves a entrar a la cocina, salta. ¿Y bien? ¿Lo tienes? Sí, toma suerte con todo. O lo siento, Chris, va en contra de la ley. Vale, pues ya que lo tengo, venga, se lo doy. Por primera vez, Chris sonríe. Su sonrisa es contagiosa. Gracias, te lo agradezco en el alma. Contactaré con vosotros cuando esté a salvo fuera del país. Chris coge el pasaporte y con un suspiro de alivio recoge su maletín fluorescente y sale perdiéndose en la noche. Te diriges a la cama esperando poder recuperar una parte del edredón de Sam sin que se despierte. Vale, pues supongo que este es el fin. Repercusiones. Ay, ¿cómo era? Ah, vale, para mirar aquí. A ver. Hostia, ¿está de fiesta? Encender el sistema. Ah, vale, aquí. ¿Y este qué? Ah, el ventilador. Vamos a encenderle por si acaso. Vale.
You know, load the tapes under the desk. Look down. You might want to have a bit of a think about it. Your decisions have consequences, don't they?
Teatro, próximamente en los teatros medianos de tu barrio. Vale, esta es la de los políticos. Esto es una crema facial. ¿Esto qué es? ¿Deberíamos jugar en este juguete, seguro? Es imprescindible el remix para tus hijos esta Navidad. Los de en el pirado me flipan, así que este va a ir el primero. Vale. Los teatros. Y ahora hay que elegir entre las cremas. Es que el juguete quiero verle. Venga, al final, que estaré menos estresado. Digo yo. Digo yo que estaré un poquito menos estresado al final. Vale. Ahí ve, ahora. Ok. Vale. Aquí es el tiempo para tomar la decisión. Si no elijo ninguna me despide. Las imágenes que decido afectan, vale. Así como los anuncios. Ok. Vale. Ahora sí me date, vale.
Not the best source of consumer advice, then.
Don't blame me when it explodes. Going in 5, 4, 3.
Good evening, I'm Jeremy.
Le empiezan noticiero.
Destination unknown. At the end of Advance's first full week in office, we ask exactly.
Este era el borracho. Pues el borracho.
I'll be discussing what the new future might hold with the leading economist.
El borracho oscurete.
With the country's wealth creators in a state of panic and unfavorable rumblings already heard from overseas, I'll be asking my guests whether Advance can deliver on even a fraction of their manifesto promises. Out with the old, Remington's Fist have appointed Sophia Remington as their new CEO. The following photo, taken from our archive,
Estará la del oso.
gives us a sense of this influential young firebrand who, at the tender age of 23,
Venga,
becomes the
la buena.
youngest female CEO in history. Sophia Remington has always impressed. She was top of her class at university and graduated with the highest honors.
Dice cosas buenas de ella.
The markets have responded favorably to Sophia's appointment, with stocks rising 30 points in light of the announcement. In her first press conference this afternoon, Sophia announced a children's toy named Mr. Snugglehugs.
Ah, ese es el del anuncio, el oso del anuncio.
Concerns have been raised about the product's safety. Making a splash. Intrepid scientist Dr. David Wong and marine biologist Ingrid Swarsborgen-Horgensford have today set off to explore Dante's taint. The recently discovered cave system was previously thought
Sistema de cueva.
but thanks to a new breakthrough in underwater flood technology, the pair hope to successfully reach the imposing central cavern and the undiscovered plant species it contains.
Con científicos que están investigando.
Only the latest in a series of successful expeditions for this unlikely pairing. In a joint statement about the dangers their
Ahora me da tiempo a leerlo, por lo menos.
We will face the plentiful challenges together, like we always have. Playing the field, rumours abound as sporting legend Johnny Hamsleeves is snapped leaving Bush, one of the capital's
Aquí tengo que elegir el de echando la pota.
caught while out celebrating being named Sports Personality of the Year.
Celebrando su premio como deportista del año.
And judging from the angle and velocity of that spray, it looks like Johnny may have been celebrating a little bit too much. I certainly wouldn't want to be.
Estaba celebrando demasiado. Qué bueno.
Grievous bodily charge.
Mucha policía, poca
promising a radical new position on crime. How afraid should we actually be? I'll be going live around the country to talk with people who've seen the criminal justice system from every perspective. With more and more powers passing to the police and less oversight, are we using an advanced-shaped sledgehammer to crack a nut? All that and mega more for the group of
ya me han cerrado esto, vale.
already experiencing the positive side of the new Assets and Wealth Act firsthand. They'll be talking and performing later. That's all coming up on tonight's National News.
Canta un poquito. ¿Qué pasa? Ondas. Vale. Más o menos.
In the wake of the government's swift enactment of the Assets and Wealth Act, we're talking about Advance's first week in office and what the new future holds. Joining me are Katie Brightman, a leading economist, and Alan James, author of Alan James is Right, The Free Man's Guide to Waking Up.
Alan James tiene razón.
Alan, the government certainly haven't dragged their heels on delivering some of the legislation they promised. But what does the Wealth Act mean?
Me he equivocado.
Nothing, Jeremy. We're still vassal slaves, we're just in prettier cages.
A confident dismissal there. Katie Brightman, do you agree?
I'm afraid I don't, no. I
Vale.
think that Advance have realised the current economic system of unlimited, unending growth is untenable, so they're changing things up.
There I agree with you. They're moving to the next steps in the grand plan.
Grand plan, Alan?
It's all in my book. Alan James is Right, Jeremy. We're to become the great herd. Ignorant, sterile, and short-lived. That's what they want.
Or perhaps Advance have just realised that if we carry on the way we are, we will destroy ourselves and this planet in a mad orgy of consumption, if you'll excuse the colourful metaphor.
Yes, orgy is the right word. Only it'll be the overlords having an orgy on our poor...
Madre mía, es que no me da tiempo la vida.
Alan James is...
Shamelessly self-promoting? Katie, how do you think the rest of the world will respond to this new approach?
I think they're watching carefully.
Vale, ahí va bien,
The disruptive threat that the world powers have faced since the last Great War.
Yes, Katie's right. War is inevitable.
Vale,
And this will not be a war like we've ever seen before. We're talking millions of deaths. We're talking high-tech weapons that can level entire cities. We're talking...
Out of the wrong orifices?
Mock me all you like, Jeremy.
Qué mal cambio, qué mal cambio.
And they poison your food and they take you away to
Se me va.
brainwashing. We'll be laughing then.
That might be a great way to sell books, Alan, but you know full well that isn't going to happen in a democracy.
Democracy is dead.
Yes, Advance are radical, and change is always frightening, but the truth is that the Wealth and Assets Act has made more than 90% of the population wealthier and is on target to
¿Quién va a
produce
hablar
a
ahora?
permanent end to poverty.
Bollocks! What this young lady doesn't understand, Jeremy, is that these are the same people.
He fallado.
Maybe they've
Me cago en la
rebranded,
leche.
but it's all a little circus act to keep us from seeing the tyrant behind the curtain.
That's where you're wrong, Alan. For a start, they've
Vale.
mobilised the youth
Vale.
like we've never seen before.
You say mobilise, I call it grooming. The grooming of an entire generation to walk happily into eternal bondage. They're like psychic paedophiles.
But based on the facts, Katie, what are your predictions?
The Assets and Wealth Act is only the first step. Advance now have a historic budgetary surplus, and as well as properly funding our public services, they're already funneling unprecedented amounts into scientific research and the arts.
Or, as I call them in my book,
Vale. Y otra vez con el libro.
Like opiates, see?
Can we get back to the issue at hand, please, Alan?
This is the issue. It's all coming from the water, the chemicals. They're pumping it full of belief juice.
Don't get me wrong, I want to see these changes, but only if they're sustainable. If Advance lose their power after spending half of our GDP on dismantling infrastructure, that could be catastrophic.
The catastrophe is that they're succeeding. They've got a
Vale, ahí lo he hecho bien, lo he hecho bien, lo he hecho bien.
All right, we're running out of time. Quickly, Alan, what does the future look like to you?
A bleak space where we've all been figuratively sodomized into submission.
No, of course.
Mierda.
Katie?
We might be on the eve of a brave new world. God knows we need some change, but we need to be cautious. Let's walk forwards with our eyes open.
Two very different visions of the future there. Alan James, Katie Brightman, thank you for joining me. When we come back, I'll be investigating law and order before Megan meets some beneficiaries of the assets involved. That's all coming up tonight on the National News.
1 minute back.
You know,
Madre mía.
Do some good.
I hope so too, Jeremy.
How much are you being paid by them then?
Shut the fuck up, Alan. I've never heard so much shit in my life.
Well, we'll see who's full of shit, won't we?
Alan, I can explain it to you, but unfortunately, I can't understand it for you.
La movida.
Well, I don't know what she meant by that.
Vale. Anda, ¿qué?
How's it going? Actually, fuck it, I don't care. I hate the fucking news. Oh, bloody hell, I love
Vale.
this tune, though. All right, mate, see you later. Bye.
Buena leche.
Bullshit, you will. She's good. You know she is.
I've said a bit of word in, that's all I can do.
10 seconds, everybody. It's little JT scared of the big bad culture with water.
If that sticks,
Bueno.
5, 4,
Tienen movidas.
3.
Vale.
Welcome back. In our second segment, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the state of law and order in our country. Advance have already tasked what they are calling a solutions team to move this serious social problem to the top of the list.
Cago en la onda otra vez.
Behind the headlines to meet the people who live with the criminal justice system every day of their lives. First up, we have Gregory Judge, a lawyer who sees the problems close up on the front line. Can you hear me, Gregory?
Yes, I've got you, Jeremy. Thanks for having me.
What's it like on the front line of the hard face of the cold hand of justice?
Well, as you can
Esto parece
imagine,
sencillo.
Jeremy, we are massively understaffed in this country. We're working every hour we can just to try and cope with the caseloads on our desks.
Which must affect the quality of support you can offer.
Well, we can barely keep up with demand, Jeremy. There just simply isn't enough being done at a systemic level to relieve the problem.
Greg.
We need more support from ministers. What are you doing? We need change at a structural level,
I'm
Jeremy.
leaving, Greg.
Not a good time, darling.
It never is it? I'll be at my mother's.
Just hang
Oh.
on. No, the problem isn't
Me van a echar, me van a echar, me van a echar. Wow, 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 wow. Me han echado. Oh, fuck. Me han echado. Venga, vamos a darle. Esto hay que sacarlo, Cago en la leche. ¿Cómo puede ser que me hayan echado así de mala manera? Vale, venga, después de los anuncios. Joder, me ha vuelto loco. Vale.
I'm just saying I'll do what I can, that's all.
Bullshit,
Vale.
she's good. You know she is.
I've said a bit of word in, that's all I can do.
10 seconds, everybody. It's little JT scared of the big bad culture with water.
If that sticks, I'll destroy
5, 4, 3.
Vale, vale. Ya estamos. Segundo intento, a ver qué tal.
We're going to be taking a deep dive into the state of law and order in our country. Advance have already tasked what they are calling a solutions team to move this serious social problem to the top of the list. Tonight, we go behind the headlines to meet the people who live with the criminal justice system every day of their lives. First up, we have Gregory Judge, a lawyer who sees the problems close up on the front line. Can you hear me, Gregory?
Yes, I've got you, Jeremy. Thanks for having me.
What's it like on the front line of the hard face of the cold hand of justice?
Well, as you can imagine, Jeremy, we are massively understaffed in this country. We're working every hour we can just to try and cope with the caseload on our desk.
Which must affect the quality of support you can offer.
Well, we can barely keep up with demand, Jeremy. There just simply isn't enough being done at a systemic level to relieve the problem. We need more support from ministers. What are you doing? We need change at a structural level,
I'm
Jeremy.
leaving, Greg.
Not a good time, darling.
It never is it? I'll be at my mother's.
Just hang on. The problem isn't a local one, Jeremy. It's nationwide. Just give me 5 minutes. I'm talking to Jeremy Donaldson.
Oh, have you mentioned your affairs?
No. Well, the affairs of the Justice Department that we should be concerned about.
Hello, Mr. Donaldson.
Hello, Mrs.
We need legislation to relieve the pressure on our public
Sorry
servants.
to interrupt the news, Mr. Donaldson. Can I have a moment to tell my husband I'm leaving him?
Yes, I totally understand. Quite the picture of a burdened legal sector there. Gregory Judge, thank you for joining us. Next, I'm joined by Police Chief Constable Bob Peel, a man with a very different perspective on our nation's crime. Do you think there's a problem with the system, Bob?
I'm sure we all do, Jeremy. I'm sure we all long for a return to the days when you could safely walk the streets of your community at night, looking in through windows and generally enjoying your neighbours without the risk of being terrorised by some thug with a knife. Or kosh.
So you feel the streets simply aren't safe anymore? Where have we gone wrong, Bob?
Well, that's not a simple question, Jeremy, but I think it all comes down to moral decay. We've diluted our culture and lost touch with what it means to be a citizen of this once great country. Also, as the vicar noted in Sunday's sermon, we've probably seen
Madre mía.
hanging.
And to what do you attribute this moral decay?
Foreigners, gays and gypsies mainly. It's all in the Bible. Look, Leviticus clearly states that... Oh, bugger, hang on a moment. Jeremy, your bloody gimp's escaped. Delia, could you give me a little help, please, dear? As I was saying, Jesus didn't like immigrants much, did he?
And just to be clear, you think it's the immigrants who are responsible for the moral decay?
Absolutely, Jeremy. Back in your box, Clive. Back in your box. Delia, I really could use a little help with this.
Oh, sorry, darling. I was spaying the badgers.
Yes, I'm talking to Jeremy Donaldson. Clive, could you put him back in the box?
Oh, Clive, you know it's Wednesday.
Madre mía, cuántas cosas.
And whose responsibility is it to make a change, Bob?
Muchas cosas a la vez.
Not the responsibility to be decent, good,
Ay, madre.
Darling, where's the padlock?
Oh,
moment.
me he equivocado. Ah, esta. Fua, qué locura.
Mummy said...
Clive, I am not having this again.
Get back in your boots, Miss...
Ay, que van a Jumbo.
You beast, Clive.
As I was saying, Jeremy, moral decay. Crime is the responsibility of the criminal, no one else. Look, everyone has a sob story, but we don't all end up as barbarians, do we?
De esta me echan, lo estoy haciendo fatal.
Does she go on a killing spree? No, she takes 3
Me echan
pills
otra
and
vez.
hides under the stairs like a normal child.
Thank you, Bob. Bob Peel there, really locking down the police's position on morality for us. And finally tonight, hopefully uninterrupted, it's time to get to the heart of the matter. Tony Dawson has recently been released from prison after serving 3 years for aggravated assault, burglary and menacing a swat. He's agreed to talk to us today, which is also, I believe, his birthday. Many happy returns, Tony.
Cheers, Jez. Call me Titwank Tony. Everybody else does.
No, I'm not going to be doing that. Can you tell us what it's like in prison, Tony?
Titwank Tony. Prison's a mixed bag. Structure's quite nice, but it's a constant battle against institutionalisation, as you can imagine. And obviously, titwanks are quite hard to come by.
I'm picking up that you're not alone there, Tony.
Pues si le he dado.
Yeah, sorry, my friends are throwing me a surprise party.
Okay, well, we're trying to let you get back to that party as soon as possible. First, let me ask you this. Do you feel that your time spent in prison helped to rehabilitate you in any way, Tony?
Titwank Tony! I don't think it's as easy as that, Jez.
Sopen!
Yeah, I think asking that is an oversimplification.
It sounds like it's getting quite busy there, Tony, but let's
Madre
try
mía.
and soldier on. Since leaving custody, have you been able to find a new job?
Yeah, all the boys are here. Big Chris, Little Chris, and Vampire Chris.
Vampire Chris.
This one's, yeah?
Yep. 1 sec, love. Tony's on the news. Rehabilitation.
¿Cómo que no?
With the current system, Jez. It's just not set up for it, you know? It's inherently unjust.
Pero si le he dado.
So, do you feel tempted to... I'm sorry, who's this now?
You are joking. Chrissy Free Bollocks has only got Mr. Fancy, oh. Not now, fellas, I'm on the news.
It seems like we've caught you at a bad time.
The little boy?
Oh, I can't really hear you, mate. It's getting a bit busy here. Jesus.
Yes, we seem to be losing the signal here, Tony.
Fucking way, let's believe that!
Well, we're just trying to get that signal back. I think we...
Yeah.
Yes, Tony? Tony, I mean, we were literally away for 2 seconds. How has this happened, Tony? Can you hear me? Well, we seem to have lost our train of thought a little. Hopefully you, the viewer at home, have managed to glean a broader understanding of the serious and complex issues around law and order. After the break, Megan will be live with some plucky young thespians. Don't go away. We'll be back after these messages.
1 minute back, everybody.
Bueno, hemos pasado a la segunda parte.
Quite drunk, it's been a great night. In this next section, there's a bit of music. If you edit in time with the music, you can see the result on the vision mixer, and the public will love that. Don't worry if you don't, though. You won't get punished for it or nothing. Just try and stay in the groove. Also, one last tip. When the music starts, turn down the broadcast volume. Right, enjoy the music bit. God, I love music. God, I'm so pissed. I think I might go and throw up in a bit.
I'm sure he's on his way. Come on, it's welcome back. How hard can it be?
This is on you. 10 seconds, everybody. We're going to open on Megan. Camera 2. Going in 5, 4, 3.
Welcome's Black. I'm Megan Wolfe, and on tonight's Culture Spot, I'll be chatting with one of the first beneficiaries of the Assets and Wealth Act, a team of inspiring young people from Scritchford Sixth Form College who today received a grant from Advance to take their play, Hey, Friendship, on a tour of local secondary schools. Welcome to you all. Well, let's start with you two, Harriet and Charlotte Winstanley-Hamilton. Girls, you must be thrilled.
We are, Megan. We're overwhelmed, to be honest.
And I believe you two are sisters, is that right?
Yes, Charlotte's my oldest. I'm the older, more popular one. Only joking.
Harriet and Trey were really the ones who came up with the whole idea.
So, Harry and I were shooting the breeze in the cafeteria, and I said, hey, let's actually do something.
So I went to look for a drama teacher.
But she'd been laid off due to budget cuts. Fortunately, I directed a pantomime when I was at university, so I knew the ropes, as it were.
Right, yes, but you're the maths teacher, aren't you?
Yes, that's me, Jeff Algebra, maths teacher.
Maths is really important.
Oh, thanks, Steve.
Maths is really important.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
As is theatre. It's one of the oldest art forms in history. Aristotle.
Madre mía, qué locura.
When we travel around all these problem
Qué
schools,
locura.
poor kids see us. They say, hey, I really want to be like those
A
attractive
ver.
kids. And that's a very beautiful and powerful thing. We touch our audiences, and they touch us right back.
I suppose with a surname like Algebra, there was really only one choice of career for me. My wife, Angela, and I, we often laugh about it.
Angela Algebra.
Yes.
We just want to bring a bit of song and joy into people's lives.
And teach people about the difficult issues. The issues in the play.
Madre, qué locura de cambio de cámara.
And I think you're going to be showing us an extract from this play, aren't you?
That's right. To put into context, I play a young first
Madre
year
mía.
who's having some troubles at school.
Her character doesn't actually have a name, yeah, because in a way she's like all of us.
It's like a metaphor. Maybe she's you at home, or like maybe she's you, Megan.
Maths is really important.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
Put it in, coach.
Yes, thanks, Steve.
Right, well, I'm going to have a little chat with your teacher while you run off and get ready. I can't wait to see it.
Venga, a ver.
That's it, that way.
Oh, no.
So, Jeff, when did you first hear about the grant?
2 days ago. A letter from Advance arrived at the school. Now, the headmaster thought it was all a prank, but his secretary retrieved it from his bin and brought it to me.
How? How did you react?
I also threw it in the bin. But then Harriet and Trey rescued it, and they ran the number at the bottom of the page, and next thing you know, we're on tour.
Wow. Well, I think we can all
Madre mía, hay que estar pendiente de mogollón de cosas a la vez.
Do you know what? It's funny because Angela and I don't usually vote. We're not very
Se me va la cámara.
I'm a mathematician, of course, and she's a paraplegic mainly. But we did used to watch that Peter Clements DIY show back in the day, and so we thought, why not? Let's have a go with this whole democracy thing.
Okay.
And here we ballywell are.
Good stuff.
Fucking brilliant!
So, let's have a look at a short section of Hey, Friendship. Dear Diary, I'm not sure I can take another day at this school. Another day of tears. Tears. Another day of fears. But still I walk the corridors alone. Alone. Dreading what might be around every corner.
What's around the corner? What's around the corner? What's around the corner?
Oh, hi Gary. Oh heavens no! It's Gary the Fist!
Gary the Fist!
Going somewhere, little first year?
Great! I've been looking for some poor victim to bully all morning, but will this make me feel better about
Madre mía, qué paranoia.
Violent father.
Excuse me, I'm late for maths. It's my favourite subject. And so important.
Maths is for losers.
What?
Maths is for losers.
My arm's stuck, coach.
Keep going, for fuck's sake.
Right, maths is for losers. Now, give me your lunch money.
Double lunch for me today, but why am I only
Madre mía, madre mía. Qué fucking paranoia.
What do you mean not today? Who are you? What do you mean not today? My arm's free, coach.
Brilliant, keep going.
Right, who are you to stand up to me? I'm Gary the Fist. And you're just a sad little girl with two gay dads who's all alone.
That's where you're wrong, Gary the Fist. These are my two new friends. Vanessa is captain of the netball team. Yeah. And Blake owns a motorbike.
Madre mía, qué paranoia.
But
A ver, a
I
este.
can't fight all three of you. And I don't have any friends of my own.
Take a look at me. Take a little look at my face. I could be you. She could be you. And you could be me.
Or you could be me.
Life can be peachy keen if you work as a team.
It's my choice to be mean. So stop now, make a different choice.
Listen to that inner voice.
Hey, listen up, I won't take no crap. Who said middle class girls can't rap? I ain't afraid of your cruel nuts. I'm a mother-loving rebel, but I still love nuts.
Hey, kids, I'm Gary the Fist. People think the folks like me probably should
No, ya es cojonuda.
just prejudice, and I'd do better if you knew the way that I became Gary the Fist. I grew up on a council estate. The park was hip, but the flats weren't great. My dad used to come home drunk and late, and he'd hit my mum if for dinner he had to wait. Where's my dinner?
It's not ready.
Where's my dinner, woman? Don't make me ask you again.
Hitting women is wrong.
I guess life's pretty hard on a council estate. 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 It's so damn hard on a council estate.
Life can be peachy keen.
Yeah.
If you work as a team.
Just work as a team.
Vaya jodida paranoia.
It's your choice to be me.
It's my choice.
So stop now, make a different choice.
Listen to that inner voice.
Friendship.
Yes!
Vaya tela.
Well, thankfully that's all we have time for tonight on the National Nightly News. Join us tomorrow night for all the headlines from across
Vale,
the country.
anuncio.
My name's Jeremy Donaldson. Have a peaceful night.
And we're out.
That was brilliant. What the literal fuck was that?
Madre mía.
I believe.
Ah, el muñeco.
I believe I
El
got a
muñeco
14
inseguro es el anuncio.
So,
I have a similar belief about an adequate paycheck.
Vale.
oh, someone please get these twats out of my studio.
Telemaratón desbloqueado. Esta se me ha ido fatal. Madre, esta es bien. Bueno, no me lo puedo creer. Salario completo, vale. Pobre como una rata sigo. Audiencia, la última. Vamos, esta de aquí. Fastidiado. Los políticos han bajado y el canal está contento conmigo. Vale, pues eso es todo hoy, ¿vale? Hemos jugado los 2 primeros días de Not for the Broadcast. Y nada, sé que ha habido cachitos de los que he estado muy callado, pero es que estaba pendiente de 500 cosas a la vez y tampoco podía estar hablando. Porque entre la señal, cambio de cámara, locura. La verdad es que el juego me ha gustado bastante, me parece muy original. Quiero seguir jugándolo, así que echaremos otra partida otro día, ¿vale? Espero que os haya gustado. Si os gusta este tipo de contenido, ya sabéis, suscribiros al canal. Sabéis que los viernes estamos jugando también a un Dante Normandy. Y bueno, si os apetece ver algo que queréis que hagamos, pues también os lo podéis decir. Darle like al vídeo, suscribiros al canal. Tenéis nuestro enlace a Coffee también, por si nos queréis invitar a un café, ¿vale? Y nada más, pues un placer haber estado aquí con vosotros. La verdad es que el juego me ha parecido muy bueno. Yo os animo a que le echéis un vistazo. Es complicadillo, pero bueno, ahí también es parte de la gracia. Así que, lo dicho, seguiremos jugando. Y nada, un saludo a todos y nos vemos en otra.